how do we forgive someone who's hurt us so badly as a narcissist?
Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. I have to tell you that something that's very important to me is that no one ever feels that they have to forgive someone for hijacking their soul, because maybe there is no forgiveness for that. The pressure to forgive has led some people to feel guilty their whole lives, prematurely forgive. There's a really interesting body of literature out there that suggests that if we forgive someone who reperpetrates, it significantly harms the well-being of the forgiver. So all of our research, forgive, you'll feel better, forgive, you'll free yourself. Not so much, because not everyone leaves these relationships. Some people continue to have contact with the family members. They continue to stay in the relationship. They may not have a choice. Not everyone can leave. This isn't as simple as, you're narcissistic, I'm leaving this relationship. It's not how it works most of the time. It's, I've got this really toxic parent and I still have to interact with them. I have this really toxic ex-partner and we still have to raise kids together. I have a toxic marriage and I'm staying in it, right? And so, and these are people who have broken people down to their core, left them feeling like they're not enough, left them feeling that they were worthless people, left them not knowing who they were anymore, left them doubting reality. Is that forgivable? I'm not so sure. And so I will always tell everyone I work with, this is a personal decision. It is not right to forgive. It is not right to not forgive. It is not wrong to forgive. It is not wrong to not forgive. You have to do what makes you whole. If you look at the definition of forgiveness in the dictionary, it says it's to cease to feel resentment. Let it go and cease to feel resentment. And I ask him, do you not feel resentful? And they're like, I feel resentment. Oh, you didn't forgive them if you still feel resentful as hell. So resentment does not push forward healing. I think that it's one more place where people are forced to be inauthentic. Some people will say, and I'll be frank with you, Louis, I can think of a half a dozen people, narcissistic people in my life. I am now no contact with, some I still have contact with. I don't forgive them. I will never forgive them.
Really?
Never.
Even if you never speak to them again?
I don't speak to them again. I will never forgive them. What they did to me, because what it changed my view on myself. I spent years crawling out from under that rubble. I still doubt myself. I still don't feel safe in the world. They took away my safety. How the hell do you forgive that? I don't. And I sleep fine at night.
That's good. I guess as long as you feel at peace.
Right, I feel totally at peace.
Well, that's good then.
Because what bothers me is I know they're out there doing this to other people.
Yeah.
How do you forgive that?
That's frustrating. That's frustrating. I guess the thing would be, how do we find peace even if we don't forgive someone?
I think people who don't forgive definitely feel peace.
Okay.
I think people who don't feel peace are the people who forgive and keep getting harmed.
Oh, that's
are the
true.
people who forgive and weren't ready to forgive. Healing from narcissistic abuse is individuating, becoming autonomous, and ultimately rising into your authentic self. That's what it is. And your authentic self may not forgive, and that's okay.
Wow. If you don't forgive, do you feel like you can truly heal?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Because not forgiving is an acknowledgement, right? I have talked to people who have their children returned against them. How do you forgive that? I have talked to people where their narcissistic partner put their kids in harm's way. How do you forgive that? I have talked to people who have watched their life savings get squandered how do you forgive that? How do you forgive these things? And those are just practical. I mean, children is emotional, but like some of them are practical. But I actually think the worst part is that this is somebody who left you feeling not enough, like there was something wrong with you when you were bringing the best of yourself forward. I have a problem with that. And I tell folks, some people get there. You know, some people will say, I was 10 years out. I fell in love with someone. I learned more about myself. I recognized that they were the ones who were carrying all the wounds, and I did forgive them. But many people will say, I was not able to forgive until I went no contact.
Yeah. You had a lot of time to heal and space.
And not be harmed by them. They said, some people say I forgave after they died. so they didn't hear it. But I think that we have this big pressure of forgive and everything.
You don't
will
have to
be fine.
forgive them, like say it to them, but more to yourself.
Internally.
Say, yeah.
Right. But I in the cases I'm talking about, these people, I don't forgive. I really, really don't. It was wrong. It was wrong. And I know they keep doing wrong. And it harms me because like it changed my insides.
Right.
And while I can take responsibility for my insides, why that wasn't okay. And I'm very, very clear on this with survivors. That's why that section of the book is called The Treachery of Forgiveness.
The treachery of forgiveness.
I mean, anyone wants to hate on me for it, I'm like, bring it, because I would say, talk to a survivor, and I hope there's survivors listening to this who say, thank you for giving me that permission. Some people will say, look, I got to 85. I've worked with older survivors, and some folks have been, for example, through family systems, they'll say, never. I've heard the range of it, and it's and I'll tell you, and some people, listen, some people will say things that might seem mild to other people, like, you can't forgive that. I said, if they can't forgive that, then they can't forgive that. Accept that, and these are not petty people. They really aren't. And they're not, and the criticism I've heard people get when they say they don't forgive is like, you're petty, you're the one with all the anger, you're the one with all the hate in your heart. I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. That it's a very personal decision. But I think because we view it as a one size fits all, and I think that then what happens is people can then allow their process. In fact, healing is easier when you know you don't have to forgive, because forgiveness is about the other person. Everyone's like, no, forgiveness is about yourself. No, it's not. Because you know what a narcissistic person does with forgiveness? Or like,
get back in there.
Get out of jail free card. I guess I can do this again.
Nothing I did was wrong. Yeah.
Or nothing I did was wrong. Because forgiveness works, Lewis, beautifully. I'm sure you've been forgiven at times in your life. I've been forgiven at times in my life, and I've forgiven many people. And when that forgiveness was met by that person forever committing to a change,
A behavioral change.
then it's the most beautiful human process, because we recognize that we're all flawed.
Yes.
But it has to be met with a change. Imagine you forgive
Accountability.
someone, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
accountability. You forgive someone for cheating on you, and they cheat on you again. How do you think that feels for a person? It's worse than betrayal, because it's betrayal in the face of this divine offering you gave. Like, I forgave you.
And then you did it again.
And you did this after you promised you wouldn't. So it's like, it's a multiplied betrayal.